So the people involved here, me, my husband, my older sister, my sister's son Kevin, her husband Joe, Joe's daughter Kelly. My sister had a blended family with her bio son, her husband and her stepdaughter. I would say it was still a work in progress for them, but we all accepted and included Joe and Kelly into our lives. A few weeks ago, my husband and I organized a little get-together at our place to celebrate my birthday and for people in our family to spend time with our 6-month-old son. The people present were my sister and her family plus our parents, so very intimate and chill. Everything went well and nothing out of the ordinary happened. But some days after the gathering, my nephew Kevin came to our house and asked to speak to me about something concerning. For info, Kevin and Kelly attend the same school and have some mutual friends. My nephew told me that Kelly has been telling her friends that during the gathering she has seen her step-uncle's organ. She claims she was in the bathroom, my husband entered without knocking and he had his organ outside his pants, and this is how she ended up seeing it. This is absurd because my husband does not do this even when we are alone in our home, and honestly, who does that when they know they have guests over? So I asked everybody who were present that day to meet at my parents' house and confronted Kelly. She started crying and confesses she lied to her friends. According to her, all of her girlfriends have already had some sort of intimacy and experiences and she had none by this point. So she invented this story to look cool in front of her friends. I lost it. I called her a disgusting poss, a psychopath, and told her she risked my son's father's life just to boost her stupid social life among her friends. I told the rest of my family that going forward I will never bring my family near Kelly again. The consequences for this girl came fast. My nephew told everybody at school the truth. My sister and Joe went to school and informed the principal about what happened, so in case any teacher hears that BS they know it's made up so they don't take action. My parents cut contact with her and will not host her in their house anymore, and my sister refuses to have Kelly live with them, so she was permanently moved to her mother's place. Before you start judging my sister for this, please keep in mind that she has a bio son who needs to be protected. If Kelly could so easily invent and tell those things about my husband, who can guarantee she will not lie about her stepbrother too? Now Joe is obviously hurt and torn about everything that happened. He keeps telling me that Kelly is depressed and wants to apologize to my family, but I keep refusing. I explained to him that I don't need her apology and she shouldn't waste her time with this because I will never forget what happened or move past it. Joe keeps begging me to forgive her because she is just a stupid teenager, and maybe if my sister sees me forgiving her she will be willing to eventually accept Kelly back. I told Joe that a stupid teenager can have the power to ruin a man's life and reputation, so I am not risking it. Also, I fully support my sister and I want to protect my nephew too. Before Kelly was moved to her mother's, Kevin stayed with me and my husband for some days. So I don't regret my decision at all. I stand by everything that I said, but I feel bad for my Bill. Regardless of how messed up his daughter is, he is a great guy, respectful, and he really values the concept of family and honesty. So I guess I want to ask if I was the odd towards him. The following story. I witnessed a similar thing early in my teaching career. We all knew that the two students were making a similar false accusation and that it was a specifically targeted attack because they got in trouble from this teacher and they didn't like it. It was a 4-month-long investigation into every single aspect of this man's life, including his wife and primary school-aged son. The entire family was traumatized over a false accusation. He ended up leaving the system and moving back to independent schools. It nearly destroyed his life. His 8-year-old son ended up in therapy and was removed from the home temporarily. And I realize I sound harsh about the students that made the report, but this was a spectacular escalation of their behavior, specifically to attack someone because they didn't get their own way. They were already known to be vindictive with both adults and students, and they had the kind of parents that genuinely didn't think there was anything wrong with the situation. The boy's father even said to the falsely accused teacher that maybe this wouldn't have happened if the teacher had just let the two kids do what they wanted. They both attempted a formal complaint about me when I sent them to the front office for swearing and cussing at other students and generally being nasty, and their excuse was they didn't like Japanese and so their behavior towards the other students was my fault. Again, parents arced up, so there were no real consequences for the students. But between their previous behavior and the fact that the principal knew exactly what kind of disaster she'd be inviting if she let it escalate for another false accusation, it got nipped in the bud, and it was made extremely clear to these students that going forward, they would need to have actual evidence or a witness other than the two of them if they wanted an accusation against someone taken seriously. I had the misfortune of teaching at the same schools as both for the next 6 years, high school trained. Left primary after 2 years because I am not a primary school teacher by nature and it was killing me, and had quiet words with the principals and my faculty heads at each school to ensure that I never had either of them in my classes, and that my personal supervisory responsibilities to either of these students would be in a whole school way, not on a classroom level either. And when questioned, I advised them to discuss the matter with HR, as the details were a breach of confidence for me to discuss. She actually attempted the same thing with a male PE teacher again after he caught her smoking in the gym, and she got suspended. That one was dismissed extremely quickly due to security cameras and the fact that he had never ever been alone with her, and this was easily proven between the cameras and other staff. The boy at least learned something from it and stopped with false accusations. He continued to be horrible to everyone. And yes, her family was getting her appropriate help, but that doesn't make her any less of a threat to other people if her response to getting in trouble is to try to destroy people's lives. By the time the second investigation was done, she had to have additional adults in all of her classes, and the professional advice was not only don't close doors etc., but do not under any circumstances be alone with this student. And look, both these kids probably need some serious psychiatric help, especially the girl and frankly Joe's daughter. But once they've deliberately told a lie that could destroy someone's life at an age where they understand the consequences, the people affected by it don't have to forgive them and forget, and they would be stupid too, especially until there has some serious work done on why that behavior happened and why she did it. I feel for Joe to some degree in this situation, but this is part of being a parent. His child did something that could have seriously destroyed another family, as well as OP's life future. Dude needs to accept that, focus on fixing his own house, and leave the victims of his daughter's mess the fuck alone. Thanks for watching, come back again.